Back in 1985, Shirley MacLaine's book, Out on a Limb, became a bestseller. And it was so widely read across the population in the U.S. In that book, Shirley MacLaine talked about reincarnation. I believe she mentioned several past lifetimes that she knew that she had had. And for many people, that was really the first time the thought of reincarnation or the possibility of reincarnation came to them. Back in the 40s and 50s, there was a psychic called Edgar Cayce, who was also known as the Sleeping Prophet, and he worked with people while he was in a trance and spoke to them about past lives that they had had. So back in those years, Edgar Cayce's work, which was put into books, became pretty widely known. And so people back in those days also were exposed to this concept of reincarnation. I think most of the people in the world have that Eastern perspective, that Eastern philosophy about reincarnation. I'm talking about Buddhists and others who, for instance, in India and surrounding countries, who have a different Eastern perspective of what reincarnation is. But today, I'm going to talk about the real value of reincarnation and understanding what it is. So the name of my topic today is Reincarnation, a Higher Truth. The name of my show is Living Wisdom, and I'm Reincarnation, a Higher Truth. What I mean by that is a deeper understanding of what reincarnation is and the benefits that each of us can receive from finding out about certain of our past lifetimes. Now, reincarnation has almost been kind of a joke by what I call the consensus of opinion. People have talked about it in almost like an ego trip. Oh, I was Cleopatra in one of my past lifetimes. Or someone else will try to trump them and say, well, yeah, but I was Napoleon or I was Julius Caesar. Well, that's not getting the value out of understanding about reincarnation, about understanding what your past lives were. The value comes from discovering which of your past lives might now be influencing your current life and influencing frequently in a more negative way. But to go back to the basics of reincarnation and the explanation of reincarnation, it's a subject that I talk about in the second chapter of my book, which is called A New Spirituality Beyond Religion. And in this short half-an-hour time slot that I have now, I can't go into the depth of it, but I can certainly give you an overview. First, to understand that each of us is a living consciousness, a conscious being with personality, with individuality, with our own emotions, and each one of us is on our own path. It's a learning path, and it most certainly is a spiritual path. Because our main purpose as a being is to learn about who we are so that we can change what isn't working and grow through that change. We have chosen to have many, many lifetimes. We are, each of us, very complex. We have a full range of, shall we say, sub-personalities, known and unknown. And to discover them all in one lifetime would be an impossible task. And so, to go back to sensing ourselves each as a being, a conscious being, who has set off on a path of learning, who essentially is a non-physical being. Because indeed, our conscious mind exists on many levels. The conscious, to draw one of my little stick figures, our conscious mind is focused on this lifetime we're having right now. Conscious mind, focused here. But we also have a subconscious mind that is, shall we say, a deeper level of our mind, deeper than the conscious mind. And in our subconscious mind is stored all of the events, all of the beliefs, all of the memories from this current lifetime, from the moment of conception, indeed, and through the 9 months we were still unborn, and then from infancy, after our birth, all of the beliefs, all of the events, all of the influences from the outside world, all of the experiences are all stored in the subconscious mind that's related to this present physical lifetime. But our mind, our capital letter mind, as I said, exists on multi-levels. So conscious, subconscious, but also unconscious, which is a vast receptacle, shall we say, of all of the experiences, all of the beliefs, all of the emotions, memories, etc., from past lifetimes that we have had. See, when we, shall we say, entered into our universe, which is a universe of time and space, it is the part of the physical reality experience we chose to have. We decided that one lifetime wasn't going to be enough to learn all we needed to know about the complex nature of who we were as a being. So we chose to have multiple lifetimes. Think of it kind of as walking into one of these multiplex movie theaters. But instead of a maximum of 26 screens, think of it as walking into a theater that has hundreds, if not thousands, of different movies taking place at the same time. And we decide, before we come into a particular physical lifetime, we decide, the conscious being we are, what it is we want to focus on in our next lifetime. What particular issues we want to work with. Whether it's learning how to take our power back after having experienced being a victim in lifetime after lifetime. As a matter of fact, each of us has 7 focuses that we choose. The first 2 focuses are the same for each of us. to learn to consciously create success and to learn how to have fun, believe it or not. But then the other 5 focuses we each select in our own unique combination. The focuses are similar to what every other being is working on, indeed. But it is the unique combination that makes them our own. So, getting back to this enormous movie theater called the physical world that we're going to enter, and we decide which movie we're going to not only view but participate in. We're going to be not only an actor, but we've written the script and we've chosen the supporting players. We can change it at any time, but we decide which lifetimes, or in a particular instance, which lifetime we're going to experience for the benefit of learning more about ourselves and for the benefit of learning how to heal the past influences from the unconscious memories from other past lifetimes. And healing those influences is part of the first focus that we've chosen, which is to consciously create success. Conscious, to bring what is stored in the unconscious mind into the conscious. To bring what is stored in the subconscious mind from our current lifetime into the conscious. So there is a great deal of responsibility that's involved. We've been so conditioned to blame others for our life. The easiest targets are the parents we have had or have. Because our parents didn't know how to love us unconditionally, which is what every child really needs, didn't know how to really be the best parent, quote unquote, because they were products of their own upbringing. Parents have become an easy target. They just didn't do it right, and there's a part of us that's really angry about that. But to come to a deeper understanding, indeed deal with the anger and the hurt and so forth, that's important. But then when we've done that and released that, to come to a deeper understanding, a higher truth, that we chose these parents and they chose us before we all became physical, so that we could each learn, each experience the certain things that we had chosen for ourselves. So we come together in a spirit of cooperation, so to speak, to create an ambiance within the family we're born into that gives the parents the opportunity to work on their issues and hopefully learn from them and change, to give the offspring an opportunity to work on their particular issues so that they can heal them and change. So it's all part of the growth path that we've chosen for ourselves. What happens, of course, is when we are born, we forget. We've forgotten the whole setup. But as a grown-up, as an adult, to come to the understanding that we set the whole thing up in order to learn about ourselves, and that those past life experiences, those past life beliefs do have an influence on our current life. So even if we don't bring them conscious, and most people do not, because many people think the idea of reincarnation or the the thought of multiple lifetimes is just a bunch of baloney. It's part of that New Age, airy-fairy, fluffy stuff. Most people are not even aware of the value involved in getting in touch with past lives that are influencing. And in the Eastern philosophy, the Eastern religions, Eastern belief system, they have a different perspective of reincarnation. They believe that one can be a human being, excuse me, one can be a human being, but if they make certain mistakes in their lifetime, then they are more or less condemned through this belief in karma, that they will have to come back not as another human being, but kind of going backwards to the animal realm, coming back as a fly or a cow or a monkey in the next lifetime. The flaw in that, however, is that on our growth path as a conscious being, it's always about becoming more. Once we have reached the human kingdom level, we don't go back, because to do so would be to be lesser than the human being. Not bad, not worse, not wrong to do so, but we want to become more. Excuse me. And because a human being has the power of taking responsibility in this conscious way, whereas animals do not, plants do not, the mineral kingdom, a rock doesn't have that kind of gift of choice. Why, to become more means to become another human being in another lifetime. And as we learn and grow from lifetime, lifetime after lifetime, the growth then, the new successes, the new experiences become part of this huge body of unconscious resource that we have. So one could see it as becoming more enlightened, becoming more healed of the past and more focusing on the beautiful future. Then the influence from past life is more in a sense of adding to the enlightenment. So reincarnation has influence. The past lives have influence on our current life, and there are clues to tell us where those influences might be. As an example, I personally have an enormous fear of heights, to put it mildly. I almost become immobile if I am in a situation where I'm up high, even in one of those glass elevators that are on the outside of a high-rise building. I just get so really scared to death, and I plaster myself against the far wall away from the window. And in any high situation like a Ferris wheel, which I don't even ride on, or mountain pass or something like that, I've learned I can't even go there. The terror is too overwhelming. Now, there's nothing in my current physical life that would be a logical explanation for that. When I was a child, I never had a fall from any height of any sort. So there's no quote-unquote logical explanation. But as my awareness has really expanded over the last 15 years of what it is to be a human being, and expanded as far as past lives and reincarnation, I've also learned that this tremendous fear of heights that I have is definitely from a past life or several. That the emotion was so strong that it still resonates within me. Now, I personally have not taken the time to work with that because for me a fear of heights is not a major issue, and in fact it might help to keep me safe because I'm not going to be inclined to put myself in a precarious situation where I could fall. So my growth and healing has focused on other kinds of issues. But another example of a past life influence that really could cripple someone emotionally, really could be limiting to them, would be this one. And I give it as a hypothetical situation, but I know women who actually have had this kind of influence from past lives. A woman who has some sort of extraordinary fear of men, some extraordinary fear of being raped, for instance, with nothing in their current lifetime, no experience in their current lifetime to explain why they would have this inordinate terror of men and terror of being raped, to use it as an example. Now that could be limiting in many ways to that woman who holds that fear within. Certainly is going to put unnecessary limitations on the relationships that she has with men. And quite often there are women who have this kind of past life influence, who have developed, shall we say, an insulation of fat or weight on their bodies to protect them, to protect their emotions in many ways. One obvious way would be, in our chauvinistic society, a fat woman is not attractive to men. And so this inner sense of survival that's been triggered by the experiences from the unconscious have kind of influenced her to develop an insulation of weight, which is evident on her body. And this, of course, similar kinds of pain for men produces a similar kind of subconscious or unconscious way of protecting themselves. And a woman who does have that influence from the past lifetimes of being a victim of men, let's say, rape is one of the common ways that was expressed, would feel anxieties that she doesn't define, she can't explain. So the point of this talk is to suggest to you that if in your life you have some, shall we say, illogical fears, illogical angers, anxieties, it would behoove you to explore the possibilities of being influenced by perhaps past lifetime experiences. There are lots of books that have been written about this. Your library is full of them. In my book, which is called A New Spirituality Beyond Religion. I talk of these things. I talk in more detail about the evolution of consciousness and how reincarnating rather in physical lifetime after physical lifetime is part of that evolution of consciousness. I speak about that, write about that in my book, and my book is available in libraries and other places. But there are many bookstores and libraries that carry books on the subject. So that might be a start for you. And to explore that, rather than just discounting it and saying, poo-pooing it, so to speak, and saying, oh, no, that can't be true. To explore it and see what you find out. There are also therapists who use hypnotherapy to help you get in touch with past lives that might be having a very limiting or negative influence on your current life. There are ways of healing that, of lifting that influence, and that's the point of my whole discussion. How you can become more empowered by lifting and releasing the influence, the negative influences from past lifetimes, so that you can have more freedom to be who you really want to be, to become more independent, and to become a happier, more successful person by doing all of this more consciously. So I thank you for your attention today, and I encourage you to go on your own exploration of growth. Goodbye for now, until the next time.